and philanthropy is the costume. This isn't new. It's the gospel of wealth, a playbook written in 1889 by steel tycoon Andrew Carnegie. Get rich, cause damage, then fix what you choose with charity. Carnegie crushed labor, polluted cities, and ran his empire like a feudal lord. But he built libraries and funded universities. And more disturbingly, who decides which families should grow or shrink? Gates's programs heavily target the global South, Africa, South Asia, the developing world. That's where the vaccines go. That's where the reproductive education goes. That's where the family planning initiatives go. Western elites making decisions about the reproductive behavior of brown and black families? That's not philanthropy. That's social engineering with a PR budget. Education, from classrooms to algorithms. In the U.S., Gates turned his attention to education. He poured hundreds of millions into Common Core, teacher evaluation systems, charter school networks, ed tech platforms. Again, the narrative was noble. Fix broken schools, raise standards, empower students. But the reality? Teachers were demoralized by data-driven performance metrics. Curriculum became standardized around test prep. Local communities lost control of their schools. Big tech gained a foothold in public education. And when critics pointed out that many of these initiatives failed or backfired, Gates shrugged and moved on. Because when you're funding reform, not facing elections, you never have to say you're sorry. Climate tech, green monopoly. Gates' latest crusade is climate change. He's investing in carbon capture, lab-grown meat, geoengineering, nuclear energy, smart agriculture. He even wrote a book, How to Avoid a Climate Disaster. And again, the narrative is polished. Gates is the responsible capitalist, the techno-optimist. But look closer. His climate solutions rely heavily on patented technologies, centralized systems, and private partnerships. He's not championing degrowth, local resilience, or democratic energy ownership. He's pushing market-based control of the biosphere, with Gates, again, at the center. Because when the solution to every crisis is innovate and invest, the real winners aren't the planet. They're the patent holders. The tax dodge that funds control. Here's the kicker. This entire philanthropic empire is funded by avoiding taxes. The Gates Foundation is a 501(c)(3) nonprofit. That means it pays no corporate taxes. Donations to it are tax deductible. Investment profits are tax shielded. When Gates donates stock to the foundation, he gets massive tax breaks. He avoids capital gains. He reduces his estate tax liability. And he transforms his wealth into a power base that costs him less than cashing out. So while public schools struggle for funding, while rural hospitals close, while infrastructure crumbles, the richest man in America parks his fortune in a tax-sheltered influence machine that answers to no one. That's not giving back. That's leveraging the tax code to launder control. The gospel of wealth rebooted. Let's go back to where we started, Andrew Carnegie. He wrote the gospel of wealth to justify his fortune. He said, "The man who dies rich dies disgraced." But he also believed, the best minds should determine how wealth is redistributed. In other words, rich men should rule, but nicely. Carnegie crushed unions, opposed minimum wages, treated workers like machines. But he built libraries, funded museums, established trusts. Sound familiar? Gates isn't evil, but he's running the same software. Wealth without democracy. Generosity without accountability. Power without public input. And as long as the media repeats the savior story, he never has to answer the hard questions. The halo effect, when inequality gets a brand. This is the real danger of billionaire philanthropy. It doesn't just obscure inequality. It sanctifies it. Gates becomes the model, the hero, the example of how to do it right. We stop questioning why one man has $100 billion in the first place. We stop asking what public institutions could do with that money. We stop imagining alternatives because we're too busy thanking the king for crumbs. Charity replaces justice. Grants replace budgets. Initiatives replace rights.